Good afternoon, everyone. A new campaign in China urging lean meals. The young generation calls it chewing grass. How do you think the grasses and crops are growing with heat and drought across western U.S.? Record-breaking cold right over the grow zone in the U.S. as well. Dust storm sweeping across Africa due this weekend, but not as intense as the highest density ever recorded last year. But forecasts are still unsure. Colonial Pipeline just paid that ransom of $5 million after 5,500 miles of systems were shut down by hackers. This is another reason that you're seeing your gas prices increase recently. If these mega corporations' IT systems can be so incredibly vulnerable because anything or anybody connected to the internet is now a target, nobody should be online without a VPN. Time to disguise your traffic. You can head over to virtualshield.com, and in the download tab, I'm going to choose Firefox and click Install Now to add the Virtual Shield add-on. It's just that easy. And get started with your free 30-day trial. Install it, click Connect. You'll see the shield turn from red to green. And you'll see how from my initial service provider, I was able to even change my IP. Virtual Shield Network protected. Take advantage of their free 30-day trial with an extended 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to virtualshield.com/adapt2030 or visit the link below to get 30% off for the next 24 hours. And extremes in both hemispheres going to take you right down to Antarctica. Previous extremes, coldest ever recorded, either the warmth at 20 degrees Celsius or the coldest at 89 degrees Celsius below zero. But those are in the depths of winter for that cold. But here in June, coldest ever recorded, 83 degrees Celsius below zero, and June 14, 2021, 81.7 degrees Celsius below zero. Extreme cold, far out of the norm for this time of the year. So if we're in the Southern Hemisphere and we jump up to where crops are being grown in the United States, emergence already into the corn, wheat, and soy, record cold about to blast through with high winds in the Midwest grow zone. Looking at around 30 degrees Fahrenheit below the normal temperatures. So if nighttime lows are in the 70s, that's going to be blasting those nighttime lows down into the high 30s, low 40s. Look at full North America here. This will be for June 23rd. Look how much cool encompasses the East Coast, but then up a little bit east of Alaska there in Canada, and the heat blobs. So we have these diametric blobs, cool and hot, as well as the hemispheres coming into weeble wobble, teeter-totter of heat, cold, heat, cold. Looking at the drought monitor here, crops being grown in some of these areas as well. So with the cold and the drought, so how do you think global crop yields are going to fare this year? So many extremes happening with the forecast increase of the grand solar minimum right at this time through 2024, and then, all these restrictions globally. It's just interesting the timelines matching up step for step. Now, China, last year had these massive floods, incredible reductions in crop yields, and feverish buying across the planet, food prices up everywhere, and in China even more than internationally. Some places are up 4x in the food price purchase in a Chinese supermarket. So China claiming that chewing grass is a new trend started by the youth in China. Well, you just have to go back one year when the Clean Plate campaign was unveiled by Emperor Xi, stating that you cannot have any vast, large parties like you used to, wasting too much food. You can only eat what's at the table, one person, one dish, punishable by law. Suddenly, all this crop yield losses are starting to catch up with China, and magically the entire newso-blogosphere is like, yay, everybody wants to eat light meals. Light eating, now it's termed slang, chewing grass. Somehow the Chinese news media has been telling tales of everybody suddenly into health and fitness, and they all want to eat less because they all want to lose weight, and it's just magic how food is being saved. But don't you worry, the word famine will not even be anywhere in the news feeds or food shortages. And I love how it says, the sudden interest in smaller meals, omitting key diet items in the traditional Chinese diet. Yeah, right. So that's like Americans going without bread or potatoes. We're just going to switch to something else because we all want to be healthy. The Clean Plate campaign kicked it off, and it seems like it's in earnest. China's having a difficult time, using the PR to try to cover the food crop losses that are pushing food prices higher. And with all the COVID that happened there, the lockdowns, food is a major issue at the moment. I see even now they're regulating catering and weddings, private events, and restaurants to limit meal sizes. So when that's happening, there's a huge problem. Huge problem. Speaking of something huge, dust storm from Africa going to be arriving right over the southern U.S., parts of Mexico. Dust cloud visible. And now that is going to continue for another couple weeks because there's a second and third pulse following this. But this is the first initial wave of dust and debris being blown across the ocean, nutrient rich. So notice the density. You can pretty well see through the dust cloud to the surface waters there. So I'm going to bring you back 1 year almost to the date here, June 25th, 2020. And you can see the density of the dust cloud moving through the Caribbean up into the U.S. was a bit denser than what we're seeing right now. So not sure why the news is all in this apocalyptic dust storm thing when last year was one of the biggest they'd seen in 100 years, yet this year it's apocalyptic again. Again, these news feeds are trying to push the narrative, push the fear. So if we're going to take a look at GOES dust mass density, this will give you a better indication of what's coming. Now, the dark purple that we see here, this is from last year, June 25th, 2020. And if we fast forward to 1 year, we can see that first dense cloud hitting into Florida, and then it'll permeate up through southeast U.S. Then, like I noticed through the forecasters, they said there's a second and then a third plume going to follow this. The second plume seems to be the biggest one. And this will be taking you through the weekend. Incredible electrical front in front of this. For some reason, everything is highly charged statically. So you're going to see huge weather fronts moving through and then torrential rains if you're anywhere at the front boundary. And then going on, as this front passes with all the dust in it, incredible rains, inches and inches. And supposedly this will bring us up to 23rd, 24th, 25th, almost exactly 1 year prior. And you can see how the dust is forecast to dissipate out. But even though it's blue and yellow, there's an enormous amount of rain. With all the particulates able to grab droplets, things are going to be dusty after the rain like last year. It was gritty and everything was covered in kind of that grayish or reddish residual after everything dried. And during these times of uncertainty, as we see, crops are getting hit from all directions in terms of extremes. Europe also with the same, battered by cold, now another heat wave, more drought, cold, drought, rescued tourists in Iceland, unusual snows. It's just a gamut of everything happening right now. To think about some storable foods, 2 week or the 4 week emergency food supply, as well as the 1 month, 6 month, and 1 year food supplies. This will give you peace of mind knowing that you have this in your home, that you don't have to go out into the chaos. You can let events play out and then emerge and get the supplies that you need. It checks both boxes, preparedness and peace of mind. I do thank you for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. The link for my Patriot supply, as well as the graphs, charts, and images from tonight's video are in the description box below this video. And I'll see you next time.